If you can't fly, then run. If you can't run, then walk. If you can't walk, then crawl. But whatever you do, you have to keep moving forward. The convention of physical and mental disabilities, a blurred line between birth and the impairment that may be physical, sensory, cognitive, or some combination of these, critically affecting a person's life activities. It is shocking to understand that people with disabilities are usually taken advantage of. Now, take into consideration that the biggest diversity issues start at the workplace. According to an article written by Amy Pitch for CBS News, it explains Rutgers University researchers found in a field experiment when they sent out job applications for more than 6,000 fictional accounting positions. 2/3 of the applicants disclosed a disability, while 1/3 didn't. And while those disabilities wouldn't interfere with their accounting work and that applicants were otherwise equally qualified, those who did disclose a disability received 26% fewer responses from employers. Ultimately, this goes to show that unconscious bias may play a role when it comes to getting hired for jobs. This article also states that aside from lower employment rates, workers with disabilities typically earn less. About 16% of adults with a disability have earned a college degree, or roughly half the rate of those without. When it comes to the workforce, pushes for greater diversity often overlook disabilities, and part of this issue may be stigma. Last year, in the 6th grade, I noticed my writing teacher often had trouble walking and would never participate in any of our school's annual kickball games. Later in the school year, I found out she had something called polio. This gave her muscle weakness, resulting in an inability to move. But something stood out to me the most. The quote that she had on her door by Martin Luther King that read, "If you can't fly, then run. If you can't run, then walk. If you can't walk, then crawl. But whatever you do, you have to keep moving forward." Not only did this quote inspire her, but it also inspired me. It should also be mentioned that it is necessary to make accommodations suitable to people with disabilities. In a text by cdc.gov, they cite that accommodations are alterations that have been made to items, systems, or procedures that enable a person with a disability to use them. For instance, Braille, audiobooks, large print are all examples of accommodations made for people who have visual limitations. However, the ADA does not require employers to make accommodations that would cause them undue hardship, significant difficulty, or expense. The ADA was a civil rights law that improved physical access to public spaces while also guaranteeing legal protections. As a result, I feel we should take additional steps beyond the state's requirements of the help disabled. The disabled also face financial burden due to frequent medical trips and high medical costs. The authors of the article, The Hidden Extra Costs of Living with a Disability, wrote, they may need to spend more on personal assistance, modified housing, or to be restricted in what neighborhoods they can live in, closer to work, or to accessible services. In this case, people with a disability might appear, on paper, to live above the poverty line. However, in reality, they don't have enough money to meet the minimum standard of living in this poverty line. Focus groups and in-depth interviews would help researchers better understand the needs of people with disabilities in their own terms. Thus, if anti-poverty efforts and social protection schemes do not take into consideration the cost sensitive to living with a disability, it will leave millions of people who do have a disability and their families in poverty. For the reasons that people with a disability struggle finding jobs, being financially stable, and even having accommodations suitable to them, it is essential that we accept the needs of others if we would like to create harmony within our planet. Today, I only talked about one topic of diversity, but there are many more we should embrace. Thank you.